peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
A very good morning to you, and thank you for finding time to join us today. It's on Monday, 26th of October 2020, and this day President Uhuru Kenyatta was born in 1961. So President of the Republic of Kenya celebrating 59 years today. So a very happy birthday to Mr. President there. And as we speak, all roads leading to the Bomas of Kenya for the launch of the BBI report this morning. So we shall be joining. But of course, before we get into that, we shall look at the news making headlines this morning. My name is Miriam Ugutu, and a very warm welcome. And the rest of the panelists shall join me as we proceed with the show. So we start with President Uhuru Kenyatta and his handshake brother will lead the country in what looks like the first step towards changing the country's supreme law. Coincidentally, it is also President Uhuru Kenyatta's birthday, as I have said there. Uhuru was born on this day in 1961, just 2 years before his father, President Jomo Kenyatta, led the country to independence. No wonder, he was named Uhuru. Uhuru is a Swahili word that also means freedom or independence there. So on October 26th, we remember what happened. If you are watching 2017, the elections, that what happened and what culminated in this country. Also, October 26th, 2017, this is the day that President Uhuru was declared the winner of the second election that happened. After the August one was nullified, we went to another election. And on this day, 3 years ago, President Kenyatta was declared the winner for his second term. And now it has been 3 years in. And after that, just a couple of months later, that is when he reached out to Prime Minister Raila Odinga for that now famous handshake. And this was considered to be a very handsome birthday gift for President Kenyatta. That was 3 years ago when after the re-election, and he was declared the winner of the second election. The election in 2007 was very controversial. So today, exactly 3 years later, the head of state has another gift, and that is what we've been seeing. And just the other day, President Kenyatta came out and said of everything else he's been able to accomplish as the president of this republic, the handshake with opposition leader Raila Odinga was one of the major things that gives him sleep and peace of mind as the president of the Republic of Kenya. And if you've been following what has been happening here in the country, you will understand why this is something that has a lot of meaning for President Kenyatta. So let's just get into the headlines this morning. And on the Daily Nation, new power post in BBI structure. And down there it says, fresh lease proposes throw a political lifeline to governors serving their second and final term, as well as politicians who failed to clinch the presidency in elections. So that is just one of the things that are contained on the BBI. And we have told you here, we shall take it upon ourselves to do some public service there. We shall be reading you some of the things contained in the BBI, and I'm sure after today's, launch of the second draft, it's just a draft. It has not been decided yet. Still, perhaps maybe some things would have to change, in regards to what Kenyans would want to see. And we've seen there, our deputy president has been very adamant and is saying all opinions should be included, and is saying he wants his opinion also included. Yesterday we were having that conversation, and is saying he wants a BBI an inclusive process, and he wants to be included. Apparently, he wants Jubilee Party to have a stand and all that. I'm not sure if those preconditions will be able to be met, because as it is right now, the train already left the station a long time ago. So I don't know if Deputy President might have just to hop in and continue and see if at all there's any of the things that he wants or he's demanding that could be accommodated at this point. But I think the key thing in the BBI is the unity of this country. When you see the things that has been addressed, the 9-point agenda there seeks to create a more inclusive, a more united Kenya by addressing some issues that divide us, including the divisive elections, including ethnicity, including the negative ethnicity, including things like corruption. So it is something that seeks the ultimate goal of the BBI is to sort out these issues that keep plaguing Kenya every time. We're not even in an election year, but as we speak, we hear and we see some reports of some communities taking weapons against each other and a bit of discontent. And so we need to know what is really happening and how can we find a permanent solution so that we can all enjoy a prosperous and a peaceful Kenya. Remember, prosperity can only come in an environment that is peaceful. So I don't know if BBI will be able to adequately address these matters, but I think it is a roadmap in which, if followed and everybody else was brought in board, can really take us where we need to be as a country. And so what we're seeing here on the front pages of the Daily Nation this morning, a new power posters I've read there in BBI structure. I'm not sure about this governor who wants to have a new lease of life. But let's just look at what he's saying, and I'm not sure how Kenyans will receive this. And so it says MPs could become new centers of power in proposed changes to law. Remember, the BBI report was handed over to President Kenyatta and Raila Odinga sometimes back last week, and today they're launching it. And I'm sure tomorrow or the next day we should be seeing some copies of the same, either the leading dailies or made available to Kenyans, because we need to read these for ourselves so that we're able to understand. So should the referendum come, we'll be able to vote on things that we have read and understood as Kenyans. And I think this gives us now even a good opportunity to have this very important national conversation and see, if I'm supporting the BBI, then I'm supporting it because of this and this and this and this when I have read the BBI. And if I am opposing the BBI, then it is because this and this and this. But we still have time for all this people who felt that the BBI has not really captured some of the things that they would have wanted to be included. Like yesterday, we saw the people from disabled community come out and say, hey, there are some things that the BBI did not address that directly affects us as people living with disability in this country. So perhaps there is some room where some of those important issues can be included and also deliberated upon. So the proposed constitution, page 4 of the Daily Nation. The proposed constitution amendments contained in the Building Bridges Initiative, that is the BBI report, have created new centers of power that could alter Kenya's political landscape and shape the 2022 election campaigns, analysts have predicted. With the prospect of being nominated to the executive either as Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister or Cabinet Minister, the position of members of Parliament in the National Assembly becomes a highly attractive prospect for those seeking elective posts, including governors who have run their 2 constitutional terms in office and want to remain politically active. That makes the post of the National Assembly MP a new seat of power that is likely to be among the most hotly contested. The President Uhuru Kenyatta today launches the BBI proposals at the Bomas of Kenya, setting off a series of political processes that could culminate into a referendum. So, all right, so just part of that, it says the fact that the cabinet ministers will be picked among MPs will make the parliamentary position very competitive and attractive because it is both legislative and executive. And I think that is what we used to have before we promulgated the new constitution in 2010. The cabinet ministers were picked from the members of parliament. But a lot of times what really necessitated that to be changed in the constitution is one reason is because these members of parliament, or sometimes because they have to be responsible for their constituents. At the same time, they have to be responsible for their cabinet posts. So that became, I think, a bit of too much work for them. And so it was either they were lagging behind in one, either they're not going to their constituencies and seeing their people or whatever they're supposed to be doing as the members of parliament, or they're not able to perform, completely and well as cabinet secretaries. I'm just assuming that is one of the reasons as to why. And also they wanted just politics divorced from some of these key posts, like the cabinet ministers. They wanted to bring in people who had experience and whose, or based on merit on the different ministries that they were given. And so they brought in people who were not affiliated in politics. That was their initial intent. But as we have seen, we've seen some politicians who have lost before coming in and being part of the of the cabinet secretaries. And you've seen, you're not supposed to be very political when you are, according to the new constitution, when you're a cabinet minister. But you've seen all those politicians that were brought into the cabinet, they never stopped politicking. So they came in, and we've seen a lot of politics happening. So I don't know if it will be a good idea to revert to what we used to have, where the cabinet ministers were being derived from parliament, from the members who have been elected in parliament. So that I think on one hand it will be a good thing, because in this regard, then they'll be able to answer to any queries that is being, in Parliament and in real time. Of course, we see a lot of the parliamentary committees calling on the different cabinet ministers when they feel they need some answers on something or whatever it is. We've seen them come in front of the committees and being asked and all that. But apparently it will be more effective if the cabinet ministers were part of the members of Parliament, so that they're able to respond to some of these issues real time there in Parliament. So I don't know what difference that will make if you compare what we have now with what we used to have before 2010 constitution. I think that not so much changes, but it is, but not so much, because the reason why the members of parliament and the cabinet ministers were being, the cabinet secretaries, sorry, that's what we have right now, were being brought from outside of the political divide, is because they just wanted people who are professionals. Who, if you had the agriculture ministry, or if you had the treasury or any other kind of ministry, then you were supposed to be there on merit for you to perform and serve the people of Kenya. But as we have seen, it has not been like that. A lot of politicians have come in, and sometimes it has become very political, with even some cabinet secretaries just taking sides on the divide that is going on now in the Jubilee Party. And that has become very difficult, especially when it comes to the implementation of President Kenyatta's Big Four agenda. Remember, the ministries are the ones mandated to implement the Big Four agenda through the ministries. So if they're not speaking and they don't have the same vision and the same goal as President Kenyatta, because of the different political alignments even there, then that becomes a stumbling block towards President Kenyatta realizing his Big Four agenda. I see I've been joined by Javan Karanja all the way from Nanyuki. Javan, a very good morning to you, if you can hear me.
Good morning, Miriam. Are you getting me loud and clear?
Absolutely, I can hear you very well. So as I think you've been listening there, and we're just looking at the newspapers this morning, and as we wait for the launch of the second draft of the BBI report today, there in the Bomas of Kenya, one of the key things that has been captured apparently in the BBI is the fact that now the members of parliament seat is going to be very lucrative, because now the cabinet secretaries will be chosen from the MPs as we used to have before. What difference do you think it will make if you revert to what we used to have compared to what we have right now, where the cabinet secretaries are gotten from outside of parliament?
Okay, thank you very much, Miriam, for that good question. And one thing that this format will bring is that the members of parliament will be able to question their colleagues in the ministries quite easy, and they will be able even to get them if they want to summon them in any parliamentary committee. It will be easy because they'll be having them in the parliament, and that will be a very good step. Then there's this thing, and for this time we have been getting the members of parliament, the CSs from outside the parliament, and these have increased the wage bill. Somehow it's the wage bill of paying them, all of 22 of them. But now we are having half of them coming from the parliament, and this will ensure that those who come from parliament, they will get their salaries as a member of parliament, no additional amount for their ministerial role. What they will get is only some allowances, and this will reduce somehow in the wage bill. And this is something that most Kenyans are not seeing it, but this is something very nice, because at the end of the day, we don't want to burden the common mwananchi with so many taxes and so on. And this is something as a milestone. And I think this mixing of professionals and from outside the parliament and from inside the parliament, it will bring kind of a hybrid system that ensures that we have people who are skilled from outside. If we need a ministry, we need a person who is specialized in that area, then we can get, and they're not in parliament, we can get them from outside and increase in the capability of the reference of services. And that is a very good thing that is the BBI is promising to bring to Kenyans.
All right, very well. And we've seen a lot of politicians, especially just focusing on the new post, the new political post that BBI perhaps will add there, despite of all the other issues that the BBI seeks to address there. So let's just look at this power struggle, these positions that the BBI, has brought in, or how it's going to work out. Now, presidential race winners and losers will have key interest in aligning their troops in the National Assembly, which will have an expanded role in running affairs of the country. The Prime Minister will be the leader of government business in the National Assembly. That's number one. The Prime Minister will be the leader of the government business in the National Assembly, that is in Parliament, and also the PM will oversee the legislative agenda in the National Assembly on behalf of the government and supervise the execution of the functions of ministers and government departments. I don't know who, according to our constitution right now, who is responsible for that. Is it the Deputy President? Do we have somebody who is responsible? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. And the BBI is quite promising good things, because now the president, who also chairs all these cabinet meetings, will have some works to do, maybe to look for finances from outside countries and the investors to come and bring that kind of financial power to our country. Well, the Prime Minister will be doing all these other things of running the government agenda and sharing of the cabinet meeting. That is a very good thing that the BBI is promising, because now it is like a kind of a delegated duties that are unconstitutionally delegated, not the ones that the president will give to a CS on that. Like now, we see the cabinet secretary for interior as the chief minister, because he has been given all those duties that previously were done by the deputy president. But this time around, this is something that is constitutionally, and it will be there for the Prime Minister to carry on those roles, and it's something very important. And I think Kenyans should start reading the document wholesomely without concentrating on this post of Prime Minister, because at the end of the day, the Prime Minister, because they are saying that it is adding a burden to 190, he will only get his salary as a member of Parliament, because bearing in mind, the Prime Minister have to be elected as a member of Parliament. What he will get is maybe some chase cars and small allowances here and there because of the work that he is doing. But in that increasing salaries and so on is something that is not there. Therefore, this is something that is very good, and it has looked on both sides of the people who pay taxes and those people who are delivering services to Kenyans, and that is a very good thing. Because when you have that kind of shared responsibility, even Kenyans will have a sense that this country does not belong to one person. As we know now, Miriam, this country since independence, it has been ruled by two tribes, sorry to say that, but you see, it is something that is there. But if we have this kind of system where we'll have a Prime Minister, then we'll have other communities coming at the higher making table of this nation, and that will bring the sense of inclusivity and a sense of belonging to our nation. Thank you.
All right, very well. So the Prime Minister will also chair cabinet committee meetings as assigned by the President. The Deputy Prime Ministers will also automatically become members of the cabinet. Unlike the 2010 Constitution, the BBI proposes the office of the leader of the official opposition in Parliament, who will hold the government to account. So we've seen what we have now in the Constitution, Karanja. The leader of the opposition, who also consider now between President Kenyatta and Raila also garnered a good amount of votes. But according to the Constitution we have right now, he does not have an office. He is not recognized the way we used to have before. So the BBI is proposing that the the leader of official opposition in parliament will hold the government to account. So, we used to have like a shadow cabinet before. I think what is happening even in the UK right now. So there seems to be saying that perhaps you might just go back to what we used to have before, only this time, like what we used to have before.
Yeah, thank you. And you see, in our contest in Kenya, we see the presidential election is one of the heated position in this nation, because it is where all the concentrations, all the feelings and emotions of Kenya is expressed. And you see, it is a very heated up elections. And you see, like you are given a very good example of the last election, where the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga gained a very substantial vote that are very big, above 44%. And this is something that is very, very good, because at the end of the day, this shows that there were Kenyans who voted for him. And if this person is sidelined, that's to mean that even his supporters were sidelined. And we need to understand that when these people are going for this election, they had an agenda. They had a manifesto for the people of Kenya, and that if they are sidelined, if they are not given anything to work from, any office to work from, then you'll see that these people will fill the political code for 5 good years. But in this new dispensation under the BBI, we'll have the official opposition leader. This to mean that it will not only loosen the heightened kind of a presidential election, but it will also ensure that the person who comes the second in that race will have an office, and this will ensure that his oversight role and to act as the watchdog of the government will be well enshrined in the constitution. And this will empower even the opposition to look like exactly the government in waiting, because we know the opposition is supposed to act at oversight. It's also supposed to criticize the government on where it's going wrong. And the one thing, it also acts as a government in waiting. And when they are empowered, even the opposition, these people will start coming up with new manifestos, and will be able even to sell to the government of the day, because at the end of the day, the opposition leader has an office. He can invite even the cabinet secretary, and they share something that maybe he won't deliver. And this is something that's very good, and to ensure that we have a kind of a wholesome agenda for all Kenyans, despite whether they are in opposition or they have formed the government.
So do you think this part of the constitution will address the issue of political inclusivity?
Exactly, because it will do exactly that, because now we have the president, we'll have the vice president and the 2 deputy prime ministers, the prime minister, and the official opposition leader. This means that even those people who have their political or a coalition that maybe will not form the government, will have somewhere where they can champion the agenda, where they can petition from. And that is something that will bring inclusivity, because at the end of the day, the people who vote for these people, they feel like we have not lost this election. We are still waiting for a better time to come, so that we can continue working maybe from the State House. But for now, let's be satisfied with this office of the opposition leader, because we are still having this kind of a shadow cabinet. We can do our oversight role. Our leader has some allowances, and this is something good, because at the end of the day, we'll have politicians who will start thinking of building a strong political parties and building kind of big agendas for our 90. Because when you are the official opposition party, now what you'll do when you're in that office, you'll start now coming up with good manifestos that will show that if you are given that chance to rule in the next election, you can do it better than the government of the day.
All right, very well, thank you. And we are joined by Professor Jared Onyari. Professor, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Miriam, Kevin, and the rest of our viewers from wherever they are.
All right, nice to have you.
World.
Karibu sana. So, according to the BBI report, we are looking at these positions that our politicians have been making so much noise about it, as if that is the only thing that is contained in the BBI. So today, let's just look at some of those positions and what it entails and what is included there, what the BBI, the new draft, is saying about these positions. And Professor, we've been at the leader of opposition. So according to the BBI, the leader of official opposition, according to the document, will be the person who receives the second greatest number of votes in a presidential election. and whose political party or coalition of parties has at least 25% of all the members of the National Assembly. Now, the holder of the office will play a key role in keeping the government of the day in check. And in other jurisdictions, the leader of official opposition has a secretariat as well as auditors to ensure critical and informed oversight of the government. And so it will not just be the leader of opposition as we have right now. That office will come with some responsibility. And Professor, this is what we've been saying here.
Yeah, Miriam, that is a progressive part of PPI, which is aimed at making our constitution progressive. And Miriam, that's why we are telling people to read the report carefully and then make an informed decision. Miriam, remember when we were doing the 2010 Kenya Constitution, Miriam, we had vested interest. That's why we could miss that critical part of the leader for the opposition. You know, for the last 8 years or so, it has been very difficult for the leader for the opposition to lead his troops outside parliament. So in this, Miriam, you know, as the moment as it is, he does not have the staff, he does not. So how do you check the government if you are not facilitated to do that? So Miriam, this is very great, and Miriam, all those things which are being said about the BBI on position, those are all lies. The most beautiful part of it, Miriam, is that even the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, the Deputy President, all of those guys, Miriam, will be members of Parliament. So it means, and the Cabinet Secretaries, they will be members of Parliament. And one of the recommendations, which as I said, they will take home one salary. If it is the one for the minister, the Cabinet Secretary, that's all. They will not take as a member of Parliament. Miriam, I think that's very progressive, and that's saving costs for those who matter to look on that part of perspective. But what we want to see, Miriam, that's politics, which is going on at the end of the day. But let people read the report and say this is the part we are not happy with. Maybe perhaps their views may be captured as we are proceeding to make the question for the referendum, Miriam.
All right, very well. And surprise, surprise, I had not checked it. Apparently, we do have a bridge report of the steering committee on the implementation of the building bridges to a United Kenya task force. We have it here. Please, Kenyans, if you can get one of the leading newspapers today, please go get one. I've gotten this one from the Daily Nation. If you can get yourself a copy of that so that you can have a copy of the BBI just on a point form here, because we know the whole document is quite big, and Kenyans, we don't even have the patience of going through. So it has been simplified. For those of us who don't have all the time to read, like we are doing too much reading, but this is there. So if there are things that have not been very clear for you, or there are things that requires a bit of understanding, or there are things that you really want to know if at all the BBI has captured, you have an opportunity today. And if you can get yourself a copy of the Daily Nation there, I don't know if let me just check. Since now that we're here and we're talking about it, let me see if the Standard has it. So that we are sure yes, also the Standard has a copy of that. So go get yourself a copy of the Standard, the Daily Nation, and let me check the Star, because I think this is important, Professor, so that people cannot say I did not have an opportunity to read it. So on the Star, I don't think it's there, but the two leading newspapers this morning, they do have a copy. So I think this is very good. So go get yourself the Daily Nation.
Yeah, in fact, that is exactly what the president said when he was receiving the report. He was requesting the newspapers if they can be able to have a preached fashion so that Kenyans will get it. And that's great, Miriam.
So we have a supplement. So if you can afford 60 shillings today, get you the newspaper, if you don't care about anything else that they're saying they're reporting on, but on the inside pages that they have a pullout of a abridged report of the steering committee on the implementation of the Building Bridges to a United Kenya task force, and down there it says October 2020. We do have the other copy from November, so maybe from now until the next coming days, we shall be looking at some of the issues that were addressed in the first draft, how maybe they have been modified, or if at all they're still there on this other second draft. And so we shall see, we shall compare and contrast. And we're just here to pass out the information so that you're able to, information is power. You're able to make informed decisions, and that is what it's a public service that we're doing here. So thank you so much, Stanley Uka. You're saying happy birthday to BBI and happy birthday to President Kenyatta, I think. Today is happy birthday to the what? To President Kenyatta's, happy birthday to President Kenyatta. And also today he celebrates 3 years of his second term in office. That will make it about 8 years as the President of the Republic of Kenya. Remember when he won election in the elections that were contested, and then they were nullified on 1st of September, and then we were forced to go to another election where the opposition boycotted, and President Kenyatta was declared a winner in the second election on a date like this. And I remember I was at the Bomas of Kenya. I was a reporter and I was covering that story. And you could see even when we were driving back home, one part of the country was very happy, while the other part of the country was not content, was very angry, was very frustrated. And so I think even when I saw President Kenyatta, because I was at the Bomas that day when he came to get his certificate, when he was officially declared the winner, and you could see when he was being given this, as much as he was happy, but you could see he was a troubled man. And I think that the state of the country at that time bothered him so much. So when the other day, Professor, he came out and said, you know what, this handshake is the one thing that has given me peace. I totally believe that.
You reflected back and you saw.
Because I was there. I said, he's won, but he's like, he has to find a way of bringing everybody else together.
Look at this.
Yes.
Look at this. 26th October, 3 years ago, we had a repeat of presidential elections. And some part of this country, to be very precise, Ruo Nyanza, not even one vote was cast in favor or spoiled or against. Miriam, you cannot pretend or masquerade that you can lead a country when you know a section of the people have got a contrary opinion. Reaching out to the Prime Minister and having the handshake, Miriam, it has given him easier time to try to bring the country together. And I'm seeing him very so much determined, Miriam, to live a united country. And that's why sometimes I keep on requesting his deputy, his principal assistant, to assist him have a united country, Miriam. When you look at the age of William, at some point in time, if God says so, he will be a president of this country. But let us not focus 2022 at the expense of the development of this country and the unity of this country. Get PBI, go section by section and say the one which you are not very happy. Presidents comes and go. And I like when he was trying to say that he's the fourth president, we will have the 50th, the 6th, the 7th, and even to have 100, but the country remains. If we destroy the country, Miriam, see what happened to Somalia. They have a country, and imagine this 30 years since all that happened, 29 years since that one happened. Do they have a country you can be proud of? So there are some of the things, Miriam, which we do at the expense of peace. If we do not be very careful, we destroy our country. Positions are there. And what we are trying to do, Miriam, they are bringing everybody on board. So that if you have gone for an election, you have lost, at least you have got something to do. You will check the government. And let me tell you, Miriam, do you know when you become the leader for the opposition and the other one becomes the president? Do you know if you are a president and if you want the country to move on, you improve what the opposition is telling you? If you implement, the country will be very careful, Miriam. So I'm happy that you witnessed that, and you are happy that you can see our president is happy in this point in time and is focused.
All right. All right, Birol, thank you. So now on the front pages of the Standard newspaper update says Uhuru dares DP to walk the talk, and then it says setting the pace, President slams his deputy for making promises to Kenyans when he's part of the government and not helping deliver Jubilee's agenda. We've talked about this before, Karanja. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, thank you very much. And yesterday I watched what President was saying in Tumutumu in Nyeri County yesterday. And you know, Nyeri is in one of the county from Mount Kenya region, where maybe President Uhuru Kenyatta gets overwhelming support when it comes to matter elections and votes. And yesterday he was challenging, and I think this message was directed to the deputy president. And he was saying that these people who keep telling us that they will do, and they are in government, when will they do that thing that they promise you? Because you know, these are the people in this other side, the political divide of Jubilee. They keep promising heaven when they are in government, and they keep even making these things that you know, the maize farmers have been sidelined. All the coffee farmers in Mount Kenya region are not getting their fair share, all the milk farmers and so on. But the same very people, they are members of parliament. They can go there in the parliament and legislate and come up with rules that will govern and ensure that the farmers are empowered. But instead of doing that, they are busy out here tarnishing the name of the government of the day. They are busy here promising things that if we get the government in 2022, we'll do this and do that. And for me, I say that if you are given a small responsibility like that of a member of parliament, and you didn't deliver, don't promise Kenya that you'll deliver when you become the prime minister, because if you have not been delivering on small duties, how will you deliver when it comes to those bigger duties? And this also goes to the deputy president. He is the deputy president. Instead of supporting the government that he campaigned to have it, and he campaigned tirelessly to have the Jubilee government re-elected, instead of delivering the promises that they made to Kenyans, he sidelined them, and he is busy dishing out handouts. And these questions him, if he has failed to deliver as the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, if he has failed to see Jubilee deliver to its full capacity as the deputy president, then what makes him think that he will only deliver when he becomes the president? This is kind of hypocritical, because it will not be that way, because a person who has not been delivering throughout will not deliver because he is in the highermost top office, but he will continue sidelining the people. Let Kenyans now open their eyes and start thinking and analyzing these politicians critically, so that they know a person who have a track record of performance and a person who have a track record of neglecting duties, so that at the end of the day, they will be able to make an informed decision in the ballot. Yeah, thank you. People should promise when they are given the mandate.
Okay, so the story is on page 9, and it says President Uhuru Kenyatta, and you know, President Kenyatta has been really trying to avoid the politicking, especially answering back or engaging in, you know, whatever it is that is going on between him and his deputy. So it is interesting that he had to say this yesterday. Maybe he's had enough, I don't know. So President Uhuru Kenyatta has dared his deputy William Ruto to implement his grand promises to Kenyans now, saying he is in government and not held back by anyone. Uhuru made the remarks after attending an ordination function at the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, that is PCEA, at the Tumutumu Presbyterian, in what is likely to be seen as a sign of further deterioration of the relationship between the two top Jubilee leaders. The president avoided politics at the church function, but in his address to residents at the Tumutumu Junction to the Nairobi-Nyeri Highway, he criticized early 2022 campaigns and promises to transform the lives of Kenyans by those opposed to to the BBI report. And so, Onyari, the president is tired of a non-performing deputy. What do you make of these comments by President Kenyatta?
Miriam, this is what we have been saying, and I'm seeing the president, he do listen to what we say. Miriam, we did say this. Today we are launching that report. Let the deputy president continue. He let him just walk his talk the way he's against it. The dagger has been drawn, Miriam. It will stab someone any time. He is part of the government. And if you are not part of that government, Miriam, you ship out. That is all. You cannot. I've never seen it happening. He sits in the cabinet. And Miriam, what changes a country is not the mukokoteni, the wheelbarrows you give. It is the laws in the country. It must be anchored in the constitution or the laws of the country, Miriam. We must have a policy. It can come with that kind of policy and persuade it to be passed in the cabinet, and so that we start giving our youth wheelbarrows. But I don't think that is the kind of decent work that Miriam will want our young people to be going for those wheelbarrows and Miriam. Mm-hmm. Miriam, that's very unfortunate that you want to make use of these people. So, Miriam, what the president is trying to say, take a bold step and step out of the government and continue promoting what you want to do. And Miriam, I want our deputy president to get me the 9-point agenda which has come up now with the BBI. He tells us, Miriam, what is not hard with. Is he not hard with corruption? He doesn't like national ethos. He doesn't want us to have shared prosperity. Miriam, we don't want the citizens to have their responsibilities. I want him to tell me that what is not very comfortable with. Does he want him to not Kenyans to have inclusivity, Miriam, so that everybody feels that is a Kenyan? Does he want that they run away, two communities will just come together, share positions, share tenders, share contracts, share everything in government? Miriam, that is not building a united country. And on this, I am happy with the president now is speaking his mind. And the sooner he tells him that, he decides, are you working with me for the next 2 years, 21 or 22 months or so, or you want me to release you so that you go and concentrate on how to become a president and implement your agenda. To be an agenda which needs to be implemented
by both president and his deputy and the entire leadership of Jubilee Party. So up there, Ruto to face his demons. I don't know why the Standard would choose to use such a headline, but they're saying Ruto to face his demons in Bomas. All roads lead to Bomas today for the official launch of BBI report. Ruto has made his reservations public and his allies are opposing the report. Will he show up? Okay, that's the big question that we even asked yesterday. So let's look at what happened last time. During the BBI, I'm reading from page 9 of the Standard newspaper. During the BBI launch at Bomas of Kenya in November 2019, Ruto's body language and demeanor exposed the inner turmoil and made clear. I'm just reading what the Standard newspaper wrote. So Ruto's body language and demeanor exposed the inner turmoil and made clear the misgivings that he had over the document even before he had uttered a word. Ruto sat at his usual spot beside President Uhuru Kenyatta, but was at the edge of his seat, leaning as far away from the head of state as he could. While President Kenyatta was jaunty, laughing and almost nonchalantly and slapping his thighs at a joke that Suna MP Junet Mohammed made, Ruto's expression was dark and searching like a man out of place. He did not find anything funny in Junet making fun of his predicament in Jubilee Party. So that is how the Standard is describing the deputy president and how his demeanor when he attended the first launch of the first report last year in November. Are we likely to see anything different if at all he shows up? I'm hoping that he does. He's still the deputy president, right? Karanja.
Yeah, thank you. He is still the deputy president because he has refused to resign from the government that he is saying is not delivering. Because this thing, Miriam, sometimes it takes logic. Because you can't keep on complaining that this government is not working, this government is a failed regime, and you are part of it. The best you can do is either now you reform and start supporting it, or you ship out and start your own kind of things that will be successful if you happen to be the president of the Republic of Kenya. And today, in the last Bomas, when the first draft of BBI was released to public, and before, you saw the deputy president was present. And as the Standard is recording, that's exactly what was happening. He was not happy because at the first thing that we must understand, deputy president has been opposed to the handshake. He was the first, his team, that I think that is where even he came out and showed the divisions that he had with the president, because he didn't support the handshake. Not only the handshake, but also he was opposed to the calls of dialogue that Kenyans of goodwills were calling for after that 2017 election. We know how the country was polarized, and Kenyans of goodwill came out calling for dialogue between the government and the opposition. And the people who support the deputy president were on it head on, saying that they will not surrender to anything called dialogues. And if you have lost election, the best you can do is to go home. That was the spirit. Now, when we came the handshake, I think it became as a shocker to them. And that's why they are all way opposed to this BBI initiative. And if he happens to go there today, nothing much will change. He'll just be there, angry, bitter, because at the end of the day, I think even the MCs of the day, I don't think they'll come from the Tanga wing. The people who support BBI, because we cannot allow such a document to be controlled by people who have been fighting it. And I think it's so unfortunate. And this is what we call, he has dug his own pit, and he unfortunately falling even deeper, because he is the one who has created all this atmosphere for him. Because if he kept quiet and started working on the government agenda, I think he could be one of the happiest person when this BBI was launched. But because he thought and he was carried away by his ambitions, that is why today he has to swallow this bitter herb of sitting there and seeing things being done by others, especially the people he termed as opposition. And this is a call for unity. And I think as leaders of this nation, they should understand that this country is bigger than all of them. This country will be there even when they are long gone. Generations will come, but Kenya will remain. Therefore, it takes time and for leaders to surrender some of their ambitions for the interest of Kenyans. Because when you are over and you are highly consumed by raw ambitions to be the president, to a point of sidelining your duties, then it is not a good picture. And I think today he'll just sit there. If he'll go there, he'll just sit in Bomas, seeing things happen, and I think he'll not be happy. He'll not be happy. And I wonder what he'll say if by any chance he'll be given a chance to speak to the audience. I am anticipating and I'm very eagerly waiting to see his speech or the remarks that he'll make from Bomas of Kenya, because it's quite interesting going forward, Miriam.
Well, there's some news here I hadn't read on the same story. I'm reading from page 9 of the Standard newspaper, and down there it says, Ruto's aversion to BBI has only grown since the final report was released last Wednesday, so he did not even attend that. And it continues, by last evening, it had not been established whether the DP will be at the Bomas. Ruto's Deputy Director of Communications, Emmanuel Talam, said the DP's office had not received an invitation to attend the event. First of all, I hope that they'd received the invitation in good time. But I don't know. Professor, we've said it will be a good idea if the Deputy President attended the BBI launch today. But from what the Standard newspaper is describing, we also what happened last year. Should the president, the vice president attend that event today, are we likely to see a different DP?
Yeah, Miriam, from what the kind of activities the deputy president involved himself up to yesterday, he has not come to terms that the BBI is here. He does not believe in it. He has shown strong indication that he will oppose it. And Miriam, these are delegates who will be brought from all over the country, those who are very passionate with the PPI. They want to launch it. Every party have been given the opportunity and people have been inviting. So people will go to Bomas are those people who believe in BBI. So Miriam, why should you want to go somewhere into a place to attend a meeting, an agenda which you do not subscribe to? Don't you think that you can be brought down and you can even be echoed? So what is this? If he has made his mind that he's not supporting BBI, in fact, I will urge him not to go because he will get humiliation. Mm-hmm. But if he wants that he has changed his mind that he's supporting the BBI and we want to work together, then I urge him to to attend. But from what happened in Mumias and what he's trying to say, BBI, and is narrowing himself, and Miriam is becoming petty. He's honest, it's becoming very petty. He's talking, if it is for creating positions, which positions are being created? A prime minister and the two deputy prime ministers to assist in terms of governance? And those positions are not going to be given that way. Those people will be members of parliament who will be elected from their respective constituencies. So Miriam, honestly, our deputy president is becoming very petty. If he believes in the BBI, let him attend. If he doesn't believe, let him not attend, because he will be humiliated. I can say that one, because if up to yesterday you are talking, you are saying the things which you don't believe and which are not there. And I said the other day, Miriam, even if BBI could have had all other things, the fact that Miriam it is addressing gender equality, I will support it on account of that, because I don't want a future parliament again to be threatened to be dissolved, simply because we don't have two-thirds gender rule, Miriam. Even if it were to have 35% of money and 5% of money going to the village, Miriam, I will support that. It is taking Kenya forward. Even if, Miriam, it was to be having that item itself, that our youth for 7 years, they will not pay taxes. And even on account that the graduates who are, they will take 4 years to start paying the loan, I will support it. Because, Miriam, it is an improvement from what we have. An improvement from what we have, it is a better document. The fact that, Miriam, we are going to address divisive elections and deal with the IBC so that we can have an IBC where it is acceptable. But Miriam, I will support. So, Miriam, it is not that you want things to go your way. Sometimes, if you want to be successful in life and face the reality of life, sometimes life does not come your way.
And that's okay.
That's the reality about life.
Yes. And sometimes you win others and others you lose. I don't know. So in line with the positions that today we've been looking that has been causing a lot of hullabaloo in the political class, in line with the BBI and the report that President Kenyatta will be launching for the second time. I think this is the second draft today. And we shall be taking us live there. Once the event starts, we shall go live to the Bomas of Kenya. But one of other things that is included in the BBI, the MCA seat, and it says report recommends that members of the county assemblies take charge of the proposed Ward Development Fund. Karanja, is this a good idea?
Yeah, it's a very brilliant one in this nature, because we know the purpose to have devolution was to devolve resources from the centralized government and to central government and decentralize them to a lower level of governance, and that is county level. And when this happened, the main thing that the governors and the leaders and all these county assemblies they have been complaining about is shared revenues and the money that comes to the county governments, and they have been complaining that the amount is not enough to deliver the agenda that they were given by the 190. And as this now, the BBI proposes that the 15% that the county governments have been getting to be increased to about that 5%. And this is a very good milestone towards devolution, because now the purpose of this thing is to empower devolution. Because as you see, if you go around this country, you'll see that since devolution and county government came into place, services have been delivered to those people who could not easily access these things. And I'm very happy that even now they have brought another good thing, that is the ward development kitty, that will ensure that our wards are development. We know for a long time, people have been asking their MCAs, what have you not done this road? Why are you not doing waters in these areas and so on? But now MCAs have been living for quite period of time. MCAs have been living under the mercies of governor. If governor decides not to give you the money, then you are done. But now it will be enshrined in the constitution that a member of the county assembly will get certain amount to develop his ward. And when this amount comes to this level, a lower level where the 190 is, the people who go there for public participation as the people from that ward. Then they'll go and present which roads they want to be done, Maram, what carafats they need to be done, what things they need in their areas, what things, and this is a very good thing because our wards will grow, our wards will develop, because at the end of the day, we know the roles of the county government is to develop the ECDs, education, the polytechnics, and some securities and so on. Therefore, this will be done effectively because people will be able to reach their MCAs with some proposals, because at the end of the day, these MCAs will have some money to do this development, and it will be a very good thing, and I support it moving forward, and I think these are empowered devolution.
All right, thank you so much. Professor Onyari, end it for us on that recommendation by the BBI of the members of the County Assembly. Now will take charge of the proposed award development fund, even as we wait to head over to an interview Dr. Matanga is having on CAS. So quickly, Professor, end it for us.
Yeah, Miriam, that is very, very progressive. When you talk about the ward, you are talking about the village, Miriam. In that village, those people may be requiring to fix a bridge, a kettle deep, a bridge, to build a school. So at least, Miriam, every village of this country will have some money to fix on development to the needs of the people on the grassroots. And Miriam, hear this: there have been some governors who have been against other sections of the constituency, some areas which did not vote him. So you find for the entire 5 years in that village, there's nothing he's doing. But now it is going to be a requirement from the constitution that 5% of the money which goes to the counties goes to the village. Miriam, that is great. Mm-hmm. And how I pray that in the future, I'm a critic of National Constituency Development Fund. I want that money to be at the village. So that those people in the village, they wake up one morning, they find that the floods have washed away their school, have washed away their hospital. Miriam, so that they can be able to fix. They don't wait until the governor comes or the national government comes to come in. So at the end of the day, every financial year, Miriam, there is money for every village to set priorities on what they want to do. Do they want water? What do they want? Do they want a dispensary? Miriam, I am a proponent of that, and that is what really development means at the local level.
All right, thank you so much. And according to the newspapers on Friday, they called that sweeteners. So let's see if the sweeteners will work there. Thank you so much. This has been Good Morning Africa. Right now, we'll take a break and take us over to where Dr. Matanga is. He's having an interview in another local television station called CAS, to be precise. And then later on, we shall cross over all the way to the Bomas of Kenya. And perhaps we shall come back later. If not, then we shall see. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Good Morning Africa, and I was with Professor Jared Onyari together with Javan Karanja all the way from Nanyuki. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Good morning to you.